Most people don't realize that confusion can be a strategy. When someone constantly changes their story, avoids clear answers, or makes you doubt what you heard, it may not be random. Sometimes confusion is the point. Psychology explains why some people actually enjoy creating confusion. And by the end of this, you will understand what drives this behavior, what is happening in the brain, and how to protect your clarity without becoming defensive or cold. Confusion creates power. That is the first truth. When a situation is unclear, the person who controls the narrative controls the outcome. If you are unsure, you hesitate. If you hesitate, you look for guidance. And the one who appears certain becomes the authority. In relationships, this can look subtle. Someone says something hurtful, then later claims you misunderstood. They promise change, then redefined what they meant. Over time, you stop trusting your memory. You start relying on theirs. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling mentally foggy, even though you were sure you were right when it started? That mental fog is not accidental. Confusion destabilizes your internal compass. From a psychological perspective, uncertainty activates stress responses in the brain. The amygdala becomes alert. The prefrontal cortex, which handles logic and decision-making, works harder under pressure. When your brain is overloaded, you are more suggestible. You become more likely to accept the simplest explanation offered to relieve tension. And that relief feels good. So the person who removes the confusion they created becomes associated with safety. This creates a powerful loop. Create confusion, offer clarity, gain influence. But power is only one reason. Another reason some people enjoy creating confusion is insecurity. When someone feels internally unstable, they may project that instability outward. If they feel uncertain about their worth, they may unconsciously try to make others uncertain too. It levels the field. Imagine a workplace scenario. A manager gives vague instructions, then criticizes the team for not understanding expectations. The team becomes anxious, they overperform, they try harder to please. The manager feels temporarily superior, not because they are confident, but because control masks insecurity. Here is a surprising insight. For some individuals, clarity feels threatening. Clear communication creates accountability. If expectations are defined, promises can be measured. If facts are stated plainly, responsibility becomes visible. Confusion protects them from being pinned down. If nothing is clear, nothing can be proven. Think about that. How many times has someone shifted definitions in the middle of an argument? Confusion can also create emotional dependency. When someone keeps you guessing, you seek resolution. The human brain craves closure. Psychologists call this the need for cognitive closure. Unresolved loops occupy mental space. That is why unresolved arguments replay in your head. So when a person alternates between warmth and ambiguity, you become preoccupied. You think about what they meant, you analyze tone, you replay conversations. Your focus moves towards them. In romantic relationships, this often shows up as mixed signals. One day there's affection, the next day there's distance. No explanation, no clarity. The unpredictability activates dopamine circuits in the brain. Variable rewards are more addictive than consistent ones. This is the same mechanism used in gambling systems. You do not chase consistency, you chase the possibility of clarity. Now pause and reflect. Have you ever tried harder to figure someone out instead of asking whether they were worth figuring out at all? That shift changes everything.
There is also a social dimension. In group settings, confusion can be used to maintain dominance. When language is complex, vague, or constantly redefined, others hesitate to challenge it. They fear looking uninformed. This happens in intellectual debates, corporate environments, even family dynamics. The person who keeps things unclear avoids being challenged directly. And here's something subtle. Some people confuse others because it entertains them, not in a dramatic way, but in a psychological one. Watching someone scramble for clarity can create a sense of stimulation. It feels like influence. it feels like impact. For individuals who feel unseen, confusion guarantees attention. Even negative attention confirms existence. But confusion is not always intentional. Sometimes it is a byproduct of poor emotional awareness. A person who does not understand their own feelings cannot communicate them clearly. Their inner world is chaotic, so their outer communication becomes chaotic too. In that case, they are not trying to destabilize you. They are simply disorganized internally. The challenge is that your nervous system doesn't know the difference. Whether confusion is strategic or accidental, your brain still experiences stress. This is why clarity feels grounding. Clear words calm the nervous system. Direct communication reduces cognitive load. Predictability builds trust. When someone consistently creates confusion, your body begins to associate them with tension. You may feel drained after interactions. You may second-guess yourself. You may even apologize just to restore peace. Here's another question to consider. Do you feel smaller after talking to this person or clearer? Your emotional state after interaction tells you more than their words. There's also an ego component. Some individuals equate mystery with value. They believe being hard to read makes them powerful, so they withhold clarity to appear complex or superior. But true confidence doesn't require confusion. True confidence communicates directly. Ironically, the more secure someone is, the simpler their communication becomes. No hidden meanings, no mental gymnastics, no shifting realities, just clarity. And clarity is deeply attractive because it feels safe. So how do you respond when someone thrives on confusion? First, slow down. Confusion speeds you up internally. It pushes you to react, explain, defend. Resist that impulse. Second, ask for specifics, calmly, directly. What exactly do you mean? Can you clarify that? Do not fill in the gaps for them. When you request clarity, you shift the dynamic. If confusion was intentional, it becomes harder to maintain. If it was unintentional, you create structure. Third, trust your internal signals. If you repeatedly feel disoriented around someone, that pattern matters. You're not overly sensitive for wanting clarity. You're protecting cognitive stability. Here's the core truth. Confusion is a psychological tool. Sometimes it's used for control. Sometimes it hides insecurity. Sometimes it reflects inner chaos. But it always reveals something. The key is not to decode every mixed signal. The key is to decide how much ambiguity you're willing to tolerate. Because the healthiest relationships, whether personal or professional, are not built on mystery. They are built on mutual understanding. When you value clarity, you send a message. You are not available for mental games. You are not drawn to emotional fog. And something powerful happens when you stop chasing clarity from others. You start creating it for yourself. So the next time someone leaves you confused, pause. Instead of asking, what did they mean? Ask, why am I accepting confusion as normal? That single shift restores your power. If this perspective helped you see certain dynamics more clearly, reflect on it. Share your thoughts. Continue exploring how psychology shapes behavior in subtle ways. Clarity is not just communication, it's self-respect.